Have you ever pondered how Japan managed to transition from a feudal society to a modern world power within a single generation? In the mid-19th century, Japan was a land of samurai warriors, steeped in tradition and bound by the rigid structures of the feudal system. Ruled by a military government, the shogunate, the country was largely isolated from the rest of the world. However, beneath the surface, the winds of change were beginning to stir. Enter a young prince, destined to become Emperor Meiji. He ascended to the throne in the year 1868, at a time when Japan was on the brink of a profound transformation. The Meiji Emperor, a visionary and reform-minded leader, was ready to steer his nation into a new era. This era came to be known as the Meiji Restoration. But what was this restoration all about? It certainly wasn't about restoring old ways or holding on to past traditions. Instead, it was about restoring imperial rule, yes. But more than that, it was about rejuvenating Japan, shaking off the shackles of feudalism, and embracing the promise of progress. The Meiji Restoration was a revolution, a carefully orchestrated upheaval that sought to modernize Japan's political, economic, and social structures. It was about learning from the West, but not becoming Western. It was about adopting new technologies and ideas, but not losing the essence of what it meant to be Japanese. Emperor Meiji was at the helm of this revolution, guiding his nation with a clear vision and unwavering resolve. He sought to create a strong, unified Japan that could stand shoulder to shoulder with the world powers of the day. He believed in the potential of his people and the promise of a brighter future. And so, he set about transforming Japan, one reform at a time. This drastic transformation was not a random fluke, but a carefully orchestrated revolution known as the Meiji Restoration. The Meiji Emperor's reign marked the dawn of a new era, an era of change, progress, and national awakening. It was an era that would forever alter the course of Japanese history. Emperor Meiji ascended to the throne at a time when Japan was ripe for change. The winds of transformation were already stirring, and with the young emperor's ascension, they grew into a tempest that would reshape the country. The Meiji Restoration effectively marked the end of the Tokugawa shogunate, a feudal military government that had held sway for over 250 years. The emperor's reign ushered in a revolutionary shift in Japan's political landscape, signaling the dawn of a new era. The emperor and his advisors embarked on a series of reforms aimed at modernizing Japan. These changes were sweeping and profound, ranging from the introduction of a new education system to a Western-style constitution. The feudal domains were abolished, replaced by a centralized government with the emperor at the helm. At the same time, the emperor initiated a policy of rapid industrialization. The country's infrastructure was overhauled, with railways, telegraph lines, and factories sprouting up across the land. Japan, once a nation of farmers and samurai, was swiftly transformed into an industrial powerhouse. The emperor also embraced Western technologies and knowledge. Western advisors were brought in, and Japanese students were sent overseas to learn about Western sciences, arts, and philosophy. This was a period of great intellectual ferment, as Japanese society grappled with new ideas and ways of thinking. But perhaps the most significant change of all was Japan's opening up to the outside world. For centuries, Japan had been a secluded nation, largely cut off from foreign influences. But under Emperor Meiji's rule, Japan opened its doors to international trade and diplomacy, marking the country's emergence on the global stage. Under Emperor Meiji's rule, Japan began its journey from an isolated feudal society to a global powerhouse. The emperor's vision and leadership set the stage for Japan's remarkable transformation, a chapter of history that would forever change the face of this island nation. One of the most significant changes was the restoration of imperial rule. The Meiji Restoration witnessed the end of the shogunate, a military government that had ruled Japan for over 2 centuries. The shift of power from the samurai class to the monarchy was nothing short of a revolution. For centuries, Japan had been a feudal society, with a rigid social hierarchy and a system of governance that was decentralized. The samurai class, which was at the top of the social hierarchy, held significant power and influence. However, the Meiji Emperor saw the need for change. He believed that centralizing power under the monarchy was the key to modernizing Japan and making it a global powerhouse. And so, the feudal system was abolished. Power was wrested from the samurai and placed in the hands of the emperor. This was a monumental shift, a radical departure from the old ways. The emperor, once a figurehead with little political power, was now the supreme ruler of Japan. But the emperor was more than just a political leader. He was a symbol, an embodiment of the Japanese spirit. He was revered and respected by his people. His word was law, his decree was absolute. In the new system, the emperor was at the center of everything. He was the sun around which the Japanese nation orbited. This centralization of power under the emperor was not just about political reform. It was about national identity. It was about creating a unified, cohesive nation, a nation that could stand shoulder to shoulder with the great powers of the world. The restoration of imperial rule was a bold step towards this vision. This marked the beginning of a new era of imperial rule, with the emperor revered as the symbol of the nation. It was a time of great change, a time of transformation, and at the heart of it all was the Meiji Emperor, a visionary leader who dared to dream of a modern, powerful Japan. Preserving Japanese culture amidst rapid modernization was a delicate balance. The Meiji era was a time of dramatic change, but it was also a period of careful preservation. Emperor Meiji, despite his commitment to progress and westernization, understood the importance of maintaining the essence of Japanese identity. Emperor Meiji's approach to modernization was not about discarding the old, but rather about integrating the new into the existing cultural fabric. It was about creating a harmonious blend of tradition and modernity that would drive Japan forward without losing sight of its rich heritage. The Meiji Emperor's strategy was twofold. On one hand, he encouraged the adoption of Western technologies, ideas, and practices. This was evident in the rapid industrialization, the introduction of Western-style education, and the adoption of Western clothing and lifestyle among the Japanese elite. On the other hand, Emperor Meiji made significant efforts to preserve and promote traditional Japanese culture. He supported traditional arts and crafts, promoted the tea ceremony, and even participated in poetry writing, a revered traditional pastime. He also introduced the concept of wakon yosai, or Japanese spirit Western techniques, which emphasized the importance of maintaining Japanese spirit and values, even while adopting Western techniques. This dual approach to modernization and tradition was not without its challenges. There was tension between those who embraced the new ways and those who clung to the old. Yet it was this tension that sparked creativity, innovation, and progress. The Meiji era was a time of cultural fusion, where Western ideas were adapted and transformed through a uniquely Japanese lens. The Meiji Emperor's ability to balance tradition and modernity was instrumental in shaping Japan's identity during this transformative era. He managed to propel Japan into the modern world while preserving its unique culture and traditions. This blend of tradition and progress became a defining characteristic of the Meiji era, demonstrating the emperor's visionary leadership and his deep respect for Japan's cultural heritage. Emperor Meiji's reign left an indelible mark on Japan's history. His vision and leadership propelled Japan into an era of transformation, breaking free from the shackles of a feudal society and embracing the winds of modernity. The Meiji Restoration, as we know it, was a period of rapid change and progress, a time when Japan redefined itself on the global stage. Historians often regard the Meiji Restoration as one of the most significant periods in Japan's history. It was a time when the traditional and the modern converged, shaping the Japan we know today. As one historian puts it, Emperor Meiji's reign was a transformative period in Japanese history, laying the foundation for Japan's emergence as a leading global power. Another expert reflects on the multifaceted nature of this transformation. The Meiji Restoration was a complex and intricate process, they note, that reshaped Japan's society, economy, and governance. It was a period of upheaval, yes, but it was also a period of unprecedented growth and development. Under Emperor Meiji's rule, Japan transitioned from a feudal state to a modern industrial nation. It adopted Western technologies, embraced new forms of governance, and yet at the same time held on to its rich cultural heritage. It was this delicate balance between tradition and progress that became the hallmark of the Meiji era. As we reflect on the Meiji Emperor's legacy, we are reminded of the enduring power of leadership, innovation, and cultural identity. His reign saw the revitalization of Japan and the restoration of imperial rule, a shift that would forever alter the course of Japan's history. The Meiji Restoration set the stage for Japan's rise as a global power. It was a period of remarkable change and progress, a time that saw the old give way to the new. And at the heart of it all was Emperor Meiji, a visionary leader who dared to dream of a brighter future for his nation. As we reflect on the Meiji Emperor's legacy, we are reminded of the enduring power of leadership, innovation, and cultural identity.